Hey everyone, Tom the Dilettante here with a quick video from my Subaru friends, particularly second-gen Crosstrek owners who are curious on how to disassemble the back end of their hatch. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how to remove both this panel here with the emblem, in case you ever want to pull that off, access the backup camera, access the emblem, get this off, maybe vinyl wrap it. And I'm also going to walk us through how to remove this rear spoiler. Again, this is my 2019 Crosstrek Premium, second gen, and it's not too bad, so let's get started. First thing we're going to do is pull this piece off here. We're going to open the hatch, and there's going to be 4 8mm nuts that you take off. And once those are out, you'll be able to have a couple of body panel pins and pop the whole thing off. So let's get the hatch open. Now for the sake of this demonstration, I've already got these interior panels removed. And if you don't know how to do this, check out the video in the description below and the timestamps that I've marked, because that'll show you how to remove the 4 panels in order to access the back here. With the back panel off, you're going to see these 2 8mm nuts underneath the rear wiper motor. This one and this one need to come off. And then if you move over the first hole here, there's going to be a nut inside there that's going to have to come off. And then the same thing, first hole over, a nut inside there. Those are the 4 nuts in order to get this off. Now note, do not pull that one. And this is second hole. That one will not do anything to get that back piece off. Once you've got those 4 nuts off, the other thing you're going to want to disconnect is the connector for the rear view camera. The rear view camera sits up underneath the wiper motor again, and you've got this wire. I've already cut these leads because I'm currently in the process of relocating my rear view camera. But in order to allow this wire harness to fish through the hole once we get that panel off, this piece is going to have to come unplugged from the rear panel. And now all the rest we can do from the outside. This part can be a little intimidating, so take your time. There's really just a couple of body pins here that need to be popped out. So what I like to do is use a couple of these plastic panel pullers, put myself back here, get in line, and then make sure I can pop everything out. There's one. There's 2. So I lied. There's actually one more wiring harness you need to worry about, and that's for the rear hatch release. So you can see here the whole thing's off, but I do have the rear hatch release wiring still connected. I would suggest simply going back in, disconnecting the rear hatch release from its connector, pull this rubber grommet, and the whole thing will come out. But as you can see, here's the 4 bolts that protruded into the inside that we removed those 8mm nuts from, and here's the 2 plastic body panels that fit into the holes flanking the license plate lights in order to hold the whole thing onto the car. So quite simple removal. And then what I needed to do this for was to actually get to the backup camera. This backup camera, a couple of clips on the inside will just pop in and the whole thing will pop right out. All right, that's how you get that back piece off for the rear hatch release and the backup camera. But what about the spoiler? So the spoiler is not too dissimilar. Basically, there's a few bolts that come in from the inside, as well as a few body panels that we're going to need to release to pull the whole thing off. So to get there, we are going to need to go back inside the car. From the rear, there's 4 bolts that are relatively easy to access. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. Those 4 are 10mm bolts that are going to need to come out. There are 2 more on each side underneath this cover. These covers pop off very simply, and then you can go ahead and get to that bolt on this side as well as this side. So let's take those out and start getting that spoiler off. Go f yourself. All right, with those 6 bolts removed that all look pretty much like this, we can go ahead and close the hatch and start pulling off the top. Believe it or not, from here you can literally just go ahead and grab this thing carefully, and you're going to pull up and slightly backwards. And do the same thing for the other side. And it'll come out. One thing I forgot to point out in order to take the spoiler completely off is that you will need to disconnect your third brake light connector. And that's this guy right here. So just disconnect this, and then this rubber grommet will go through when you pull the entire spoiler off. Pull this grommet out, fish your wire out, and the spoiler's gone. And that's it. That's how you take off the rear spoiler on a second-gen Crosstrek, as well as the panel that covers up the backup camera and the rear hatch release. I hope you found this helpful. Until the next time, this is Tom the Dilettante saying keep taking shit apart and have fun. Take care. And that's it. That's how you take off the spoiler and that rear panel that covers the backup camera and the fuck was that?